First, let's start with this case. Me, 35, and my husband, 37, have been married for 3 years. We do not have children, nor have we ever wanted children. We love our child-free life. My sister, 32, has 3 girls, 13, 9, and 7. I love them very much, but I've never been the aunt that wants them to spend the night or spend more than a couple hours with them. They stress me out. All kids do, lol. My sister is an addict, and my niece's dad is currently in prison. Their grandma, who is also my mother, but I have no contact with, has guardianship of them. That story we'll save for another post. My sister, who comes in and out of the girls' lives, has had nothing to do with me. Once in a while she'll reach out and say hi, but that's more like 2 times a year, even though I reach out once a week. Anyways, long story short, it's a very toxic family environment, and me and my husband just stick to ourselves. Recently, the place they have all been living at has been sold, and they were told in November they have until January 31st to be out. So today, 1/23, they had my 13-year-old niece call me and tell me they're not going to have anywhere to live if I don't take them in. Yes, they had the 13-year call me and say that. I'd ache what to do. I don't want to change up mine and my husband's life. I love the way our life is. I'm so mentally drained. I don't want the responsibility and don't feel like it's mine, but I also feel guilty. I've been doing this for years, dealing with others' messes. Both my parents were addicts, and it's the same toxic cycle with my sister. Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. Your sister should be spending some time on the phone looking for emergency housing services through the welfare department. It would be sad to see the children go into the foster care system, but that's another option. Maybe she can go to rehab while the children are in foster care. Your mother, who is their guardian, has the responsibility to act in this situation, not you. They've had since November to find a place, so I doubt that they would be quick to move out once you let them into your house. I'd expect them to make themselves comfortable fast, because your place is probably a lot nicer than where they live. Does the grandmother come along with the children? You're being presented a false dilemma. Let us live with you, or we're on the streets. It's an emotional thing for you if you have empathy for the children. I'd want to talk with your mother and see what she can afford to pay for rent. If it's a case of needing a deposit for an apartment that she could otherwise afford, you could pay the deposit directly to the landlord. Do not co-sign anything. Never feel obligated to support people's bad choices or the results of them. The guilt tripping will be fast and furious. Having to pick up other people's messes gets old fast, and you've already served your time. They need a social worker, not somebody who doesn't want to raise kids. This is actually not your problem, any more than all the other children in the world who need loving homes are. That is to say, it is sad and of course you feel bad for them. But it is not your life. These are not your kids, and you don't want them to be. You can feel sad about the situation and not be guilty. The guilt is the people who should be responsible here trying to guilt you, your sister. If you have concerns for the kids' safety and well-being after the call, contact CPS or a social worker. They can find resources, which you are not in this case. It's okay to live your own life, and if the 13-year-old calls you, tell her you need to talk to her mother or grandmother. You can love her and not be raising her. You're not in the wrong. I have to say I honestly don't know what I would do, because I can personally and profoundly relate to feelings of guilt. But in looking at this as someone else's problem, it is easier to offer a perspective. If you take the kids outside any official system, you have absolutely no authority over them. You can't obtain social services, obtain insurance, authorize medical care, enroll them in school, make them stay with you once they get there. You will inadvertently enmesh yourself with their addicted mother and addicted grandmother. Possibly, if you block them, sister and mother, you could be charged with kidnapping the kids. You are essentially on your own with no formal arrangement through the courts. So you can't access mental health resources, except at your own expense. These kids are likely in dire need of mental health services. You have neither skills or access. This is a tragic situation, but not of your making or under your responsibility. If I may, perhaps the best thing you can do for these kids is make an anonymous call to CPS and get the authorities involved. I don't know the right answer, but the guilt for this situation should absolutely not be your burden to bear. Next up, so for quick context, my boyfriend bought us a new bed frame and mattress, but the frame came with a crack in one of the pieces. When he told Amazon, they just sent him another one. One day at work, an employee mentioned he was needing a new bed, so my boyfriend said he could have the one Amazon sent him if he didn't mind the broken piece. Well, he didn't, and he came to get it today. I know this person, and I do not like him for various reasons. My boyfriend told me the night before he was coming to get it. I said, cool, I'm not coming out of the bedroom unless I have to. He came and I vaguely heard them talking, but I was half asleep and didn't care. Then I heard my boyfriend say something about showing him our bed, and I heard him say that I was in there, but it was fine. I kind of froze, half asleep and confused until I heard them coming, and I pulled the blankets over my head as my boyfriend announced coming in. I said very loudly, "Why?" And they just came in. It was hot and stuffy under the covers. Thank God I wore baggy clothes and not my usual sleepwear. So I pulled the blankets down, and the guy was just standing there in the doorway and awkwardly said, "Good morning." To which I replied very angrily, "Good morning" back, and probably looked like I wanted to kill everyone there. So my boyfriend showed off the bed and started to leave, to which I snapped at him for not shutting the door behind him on his way out. I don't like leaving the door completely open because it's so awkward when his son goes to the bathroom across the hall and we see each other when I'm trying to sleep. I just want it cracked enough that my cat can get in, and he knows this. Eventually the employee leaves and my boyfriend comes in, and I immediately sat up and tell him I did not like that at all. He tries saying something in a sing-song voice that may have been a half-assed apology, but I cut him off saying, I really didn't like that at all. And he turned around and left without a word. I shut the door completely and laid down, just sort of locked up in place. My whole body sort of just felt heavy and my chest hurt, but I couldn't cry. But that was just so humiliating to have not only a man that does not belong in my bedroom there, but also him seeing me in my safe space. An absolute mess from sleeping was just horrible. Later, when I got up for work, my boyfriend left as soon as he knew I was moving, got his pants, and left without a word. On my way out, I very angrily texted him that since he decided to Irish goodbye me after hurting me that bad, I'd take the couch tonight. He didn't reply, and he was asleep when I got home, so on the couch I am now. I want to know if I'm the idiot for how I reacted, because I have a feeling that's how he's going to twist it when he does. Or if he does, say anything at all. Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. You set clear boundaries, and your man straight up ignored them, bringing someone into your bedroom. Your safe space without a real heads up or respect for your feelings is a foul move. Maybe snapping wasn't ideal, but he kinda asked for it by dismissing your comfort like that. Dude needs to quit playing and show some respect. You're not in the wrong. Letting someone in your bedroom while you're sleeping is an idiot move, especially when it's someone he knows that you don't really like. He should have had the decency to wake you up before he even got there so you could have moved somewhere else. Imagine how uncomfortable you would feel if you had been sleeping naked. Your boyfriend should have had you get up before any of this happened. Your boyfriend owes you an apology to you and the employee for what happens. Your boyfriend owes you another apology for just walking away from you after you expressed how much you didn't like what he did and not talking to you for the rest of the day. How childish. You're not in the wrong. I've been with my wife for 18 years. I would never, never cross that boundary with her ever. I don't care if she was awake. If she is obviously uncomfortable with someone, I wouldn't put her in that position. And no one is getting into our bedroom without getting through me first. The hell is wrong with him? How long have you two been together? Because I feel like this is easily something he should have picked up on. Next up, this happened a few hours ago, a little before midnight. I was texting my friend for a while, leading up to when I called the police. My friend and I were messaging each other until all of a sudden they send a text saying, "My lights keeps flickering, call the cops." No context whatsoever. At this point, I think it's an emergency and something is actually happening, and I call them. No response. I text them, Still, no response. I proceed to try and call them 2 more times and text them once more, but they still don't pick up or answer. At this point, I'm worried that something has already happened, and I proceed to call them police. As I'm on the phone with the police, I finally get an answer, but at that point, I had already told the officer the address and the individual's name, along with the other people who resided with them. I get off the phone with the police, and the friend tells me that there was nothing wrong. And I explain that I thought they were in danger because they weren't picking up the phone and wasn't responding to the texts I sent. After that, I call emergency services again, hoping that I can tell them that the individual I called to check on is all right, and they responded to me after a few minutes. A few minutes later, I receive a phone call from the individual's phone, and it's their mother. I already know that I'm going to get chewed out, and I try to explain what happened about the text and how I thought the household was in danger. Long story short, I'm to never call the cops to their house, and I believe something is happening to call the mother first. At that point, I just decided to call it quits, because I ended up being the bad guy in the situation, and went to bed only to wake up to a text from my friend saying, "You're really a piece of trash for what you did, and you know exactly what you were doing, and I don't know what to do. Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. Your friend told you to call the cops. They stopped responding. So you did what I think most decent friends would do, proceeded to make the call. This is on your friend for misleading you, and they have zero reason to be mad at you. You're not in the wrong. What did your friend expected you to do? You did what any normal sane person would do after receiving a call the cops message when the sender is unreachable after. Better safe than sorry. You are most definitely not the idiot. Your so-called friend is a huge idiot for even doing that. Never cry wolf on something like that, in this day with all the crap going around in the world. I would have done the same. Cut your ties with this immature, toxic person. You cared about their well-being, and they crap on you for it. Next up, I, 27F, hit 1 year sober from alcohol at the beginning of the year. This was a huge accomplishment for me. It was bigger to me than finishing college. I told my family that next time we were together for family dinner, I had something to celebrate. This all happened at my mom's. The kids were playing and the adults were hanging out. I took the moment to share that I'd reached 1 year sober and how good I felt about it. They went with, "Oh, that's what you were talking about. And has it been a year already?" I am embarrassed to admit I hoped someone would say they're proud of me. My brother-in-law Steve looked at my sister and they both said, "Well," at the same time, and she said, "Since we're all here, niece just got into a specific gymnastics thing. It's been a long road, but she did it." Steve popped some wine they'd brought and started giving everyone glasses, cups. He made eye contact with me and his face fell. I had this gnawing feeling, so got up from the table. I took a walk. I tried to get through the moment mentally so I could be present for my niece to celebrate her success. But when I got back to the house, my sister asked me why I left without saying anything. I said I needed a minute to myself. She looked at me funny and said, "Okay." I said I'd shared something I was very proud of, and she bulldozed over it. My mom put her hand up and asked me what my news was. I said that I'd told them. I hit 1 year sober. Mom said my generation always wanted praise for doing the bare minimum. That wasn't an accomplishment, it was just what I needed to do, like graduating high school. I tried to make it through to dinner, but found myself just not in the mood anymore. I decided to go home. Here is the direct thing I am being called a butthead for. I'd brought a small berry chantilly cake, my favorite, to share after dinner. It was the thing I decided I earned. The kids had definitely seen it. On my way out, I decided to take it home with me. I guess when they realized the cake wasn't in the garage fridge anymore, my sister called to ask me why I took it. I said I did because it was my cake to celebrate my accomplishment. She said word for word, "Are you serious? Oh my God, Emma, grow up. You are such a baby." My mom later texted me directly to tell me how disappointed she was that I threw a tantrum because my niece got more attention than me. I don't think her read of what happened is right. But that is why I am asking you guys. Am I the idiot because I took home the cake in the end? Was that really childish of me, considering the kids saw it and then didn't get any? As I was putting on my shoes to leave, Steve found me and directly apologized and said that he was completely oblivious in the moment. I know he did not do anything to intentionally hurt me. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to follow up and say thank you to everyone for the responses. I have a lot to think about when I next go to therapy, today actually, and work on. I do want to clear up a few things that I've seen come up a lot on the comments. I am not in AA. I'd tried AA before and it was not compatible for me. It works for a lot of people very well, and I'm happy for you if it works for you. So, stuff about the steps and personal inventory are not relevant to me. It wasn't a party for my niece. It was just a family dinner. The cake was mine and wasn't brought for my niece. I didn't take it because I wanted to get back at them. I took it because it's my favorite cake and I wanted to eat it because it was my thing that I earned. I don't know why they opened wine for my niece getting into the gymnastic program. But I also don't think it's my place to say anyone else has a drinking problem, and I'd prefer to have eyes on my own paper. Let's start judging. They had wine, which naturally excluded you right after you told them your good news. I am glad you took the cake. Sweet OP. First, I am not only thrilled for you, but I am so proud of you. Honey, you didn't end up with addiction because you had such a supportive and functional family. You are looking for love in the wrong places. When you have a milestone to celebrate, do it with friends, do it at a meeting, do it here, do it on a Zoom call with random strangers. But your family of origin has lost access to the happy occasions in your life. They do not deserve you. Your sister and brother-in-law are rude and petty, but your mom really takes the cake. Being 365 days sober is a big effing deal. She strikes me as the type to tell someone who lost 100 pounds that they've done the bare minimum and are still fat. She's mean. It's time to significantly limit contact with your family. It's very hard, but you've done something way harder. Put yourself first. Love yourself. Celebrate yourself. They know where to find you when they are ready to stop being petty and nasty and self-absorbed. You're not in the wrong. Mom, if you actually think that the reason I'm upset is because niece had something to celebrate, then you are not only oblivious, but also a huge idiot. And if anyone is disappointed, it's me being disappointed in you. I'm super happy for niece. But all of the rest of you adults in the room were dismissive and really bad, and I'm under no obligation to put up with your nonsense. At least Steve had the decency to apologize for being so oblivious and insensitive. You clearly have no excuse, nor are you excused.